Be me, 24YO HR hire fresh out of Brown. Starting salary 90K. Think I'm basically royalty. Walk into office first day. Oversized tote bag swinging like a weapon. Iced oat milk latte in hand. Don't even like oat milk. But got a signal virtue. It's about ethics, not taste. Wearing thrifted blazer 2 sizes too big. Read online it's called power dressing. Boss shakes my hand. Says, we're excited to have you on board. Smile like I'm about to dismantle patriarchy. Inner monologue, these nerds need saving. I'm their messiah. Shake his hand like I'm running for office. See engineers in hoodies. Instantly judge. Oh, wow, no professionalism, no equity, no awareness. Interns look nervous when I walk by. Think. Good fear is respect. Sit down at desk. Don't even log into computer. Whip out clipboard like I'm auditing the UN. Already scribbling equity and inclusion directives. Haven't even opened Outlook yet. Boss walks past, sees me scribbling furiously, says, glad you're enthusiastic. Reply, enthusiasm is the first step toward systemic change. He blinks like Windows XP error screen. Feels smug, a sip latte like it's holy water, a look around office. Hear casual chatter at coffee machine. Think, this is chaos, I will bring order. Daydream about TED Talk invites. Imagine headlines. Young HR visionary transforms corporate culture. Inner monologue. They'll thank me later once they're enlightened. Decide office needs structural enlightenment. Mandatory pronoun badges for everyone. This is how we dismantle systemic oppression. Engineers look confused. One asks if he can just use his name. Tell him that's not inclusive enough. He stares like I just spoke Klingon. Feel powerful. Send out memo banning word guys in emails. Must use team or folks. Write 3 pages explaining why guys is oppressive. Pat self on back for saving humanity. Boss sighs but says, okay, if you think it's necessary. Smug. EXC. Introduce daily gratitude essays. Every employee must write reflections praising coworkers. Positivity is mandatory. Interns forced to write 500 words about why their manager is inspiring. One writes he's nice. Mark it down as insufficient effort. I feel righteous. Roll out mood color dress code. Employees must wear clothes matching emotional state. Blue for sadness, yellow for joy, red for passion. Guy shows up in gray hoodie. Ask him, so you're apathetic today? He says, I just like gray. Write him up for emotional dishonesty. Inner monologue. I'm shaping culture, they'll thank me later. Walk around office with clipboard. Checking badges, checking outfits, checking essays. People stop talking when I enter rooms. Assume it's respect. Actually fear. Sip latte, feel like queen of equity. One day decide interns are my personal playthings. Force them to fetch my lattes every morning. Extra oat milk because equity. Make them carry clipboards around like medieval squires. Inner monologue, this teaches discipline. Interns whisper, why do we have to do this? Overhear them. Smugly write, resistant to change on clipboard. Feel righteous. Introduce confession circles. Interns must publicly admit microaggressions, even if they haven't done anything. One says, I don't know what to confess. Reply, that's denial. Denial is violence. Write him up. Another intern stares at floor. Accuse him of insufficient eye contact. Mark it down as hostile body language. Inner monologue. They'll thank me later for this growth. Interns look exhausted. Think. Good, they're learning accountability. Make them stand during meetings. Sitting is privilege, standing builds resilience. One intern asks if he can sit because his leg hurts. Tell him pain is part of progress. Write him up for entitlement. Interns start avoiding me in hallways. Assume it's respect. Actually fear. Overhear them whispering about quitting. Smugly note, resistant to change again. Pat self on back. Force interns to submit daily gratitude essays. Minimum 500 words. One writes, "My manager is nice." Mark it down as insufficient effort. Inner monologue, positivity must be mandatory. Make interns wear mood colors too. One shows up in black shirt. Ask, "So you're depressed today?" He says, "I just like black." Write him up for emotional dishonesty. Interns start crying in bathroom. Hear sobbing, feel powerful. Inner monologue, tears are proof of transformation. Boss walks by, sees intern crying, asks what happened. I say he's growing. Boss rubs temples, walks away. Interns forced to carry binders labeled equity logs. Must record every word they hear in office. One forgets to log a joke. Write him up for complicity in oppression. Interns start eating lunch at desks in silence. Cafeteria empty. Think, they're finally focusing on work. One intern mutters, "I just want to learn coding." Catch him. Accuse him of toxic masculinity. Write him up. Inner monologue, "I'm shaping the future workforce." Interns start showing up late. Claim buses were delayed. Accuse them of systemic laziness. Write them up again. One intern asks, "Why do we have to do this?" Reply, "Because equity is more important than efficiency." He stares blankly. Write him up for microaggression via silence. Interns stop making eye contact altogether. Think, they're intimidated by my authority. Reality, they're terrified. One intern breaks down in meeting, says, "I can't do this anymore." I smile, say that's the first step toward accountability. Write him up mid-cry. Inner monologue, "I'm untouchable." Interns start whispering about quitting en masse. Overhear again. Smugly note, resistant to change for the third time. Pat self on back harder. The boss asks, "Why are interns miserable?" Reply, "They're being liberated from toxic habits." Boss sighs, walks away. Interns stop talking altogether. Meetings dead silent. Think, this is cultural transformation. Interns start avoiding cafeteria, bathroom, hallways, basically ghosts. Inner monologue, silence is compliance, compliance is progress. One intern emails boss privately, says HR lady is bullying us. Boss forwards it to me. I write him up for hostile communication. Smug, EXC, interns start leaving early, claim they have headaches, accuse them of resisting equity, write them up again. Inner monologue, pain is proof of growth. Interns look pale, exhausted, broken. Think, they're finally enlightened. One intern mutters, "I hate this job." Catch him. Write him up for negative energy. Inner monologue, "I'm saving them from themselves." Interns stop showing up to safe space circles. Drag them in anyway. Force them to confess microaggressions. One says, "I don't have any." Reply, "That's privilege speaking." Write him up. Interns whisper, "We should quit." Overhear again. A smugly note, resistant to change for the fourth time. Sip latte, feel like queen. Interns already broken, crying in bathrooms. Think, perfect time to escalate. Roll out silent Mondays. No one allowed to speak unless using HR approved phrases. Communication must be equitable. Office turns into mime convention. Engineer tries to ask, "Where's the bug report?" I cut him off. Approved phrase is, "May I request collaborative input?" He stares like I just killed his dog. Smugly mark him down for linguistic noncompliance. Inner monologue, "I'm shaping the future of work." Next decree, ban chairs in meetings. Standing promotes alertness and equality. Employees forced to stand for 2-hour meetings. One guy leans on wall. Accuse him of privilege posture. Write him up. Interns wobbling like penguins. Think, this is resilience training. Boss rubs temples, mutters, "Why are we standing?" Reply, "Sitting is oppression." He sighs, doesn't argue. Feel victorious. Roll out new rule, no jokes unless pre-approved by HR. Humor must be inclusive. Sales guy cracks pun about quarterly numbers. Laugh echoes in room. I slam clipboard. Unauthorized humor detected. Write him up. Inner monologue, I'm dismantling toxic comedy culture. Office goes dead silent. Coffee machine chatter extinct. Feel smug. Engineers start whispering complaints. We just want to write code. Overhear them. Accuse them of toxic masculinity. Write them up. A force developers to rewrite harmless code comments. Fix later becomes collaboratively revisit at equitable time. A productivity dies. Deadlines slip. One engineer sighs, says this is insane. I glare. Insanity is refusing progress. Write him up. Inner monologue. Short-term losses are worth long-term enlightenment. Cafeteria emptier than my empathy. Employees eat at desks in silence. Think, they're finally focusing on work. Boss calls me in. Asks, are these rules helping? Reply, they help society. Isn't that more important? He rubs temples again. Looks like he aged 10 years. I sip latte, feel untouchable. Inner monologue. I'm the architect of cultural transformation. Feel powerful. The clipboard still warm from writing up interns. Silent Mondays, no chairs, no jokes, mood colors. Office looks like dystopian daycare. Meetings drag on forever. Everyone standing, silent, terrified. One engineer tries to ask about bug fix. Takes 3 minutes to phrase it in HR-approved language. Meeting derails into argument over wording. I smile, think this is progress. Emails take hours to draft. People triple check every word. Terrified of being accused of microaggression. Inbox slower than dial up internet. Cafeteria empties. Employees eat at desks in silence. No chatter, no laughter, just fear. Think, they're finally focusing on work. Deadlines start slipping. Clients complain about delays. First angry email arrives. Why is delivery late? Ignore it, focus on drafting equity memo 7. Inner monologue, short-term losses are worth long-term enlightenment. Boss calls me in, looks exhausted, rubs temples, asks, are these rules actually helping? Reply, they help society, isn't that more important? He stares at me like I just confessed to arson. Mutters, we're losing clients. I sip latte, feel untouchable. Smugly say this is cultural transformation. Engineers whisper about quitting. Overhear them. Mark down resistant to change. Pat self on back. Sales lead slams fist in meeting. Says safe doesn't pay bills. I glare, accuse him of toxic communication. Write him up. Inner monologue, I'm dismantling capitalist toxicity. Office morale hits rock bottom. Cafeteria emptier than my empathy. Coffee machine unused. Silence everywhere. Think, this is equity in action. Boss looks like he aged 10 years. Sighs every time he sees me. I interpret it as respect. Reality, he's exhausted. Deadlines keep slipping. The second client cancels contract. I shrug, say short-term losses are expected. Think I'm shaping the future of work. Realize something. Office productivity already dead. But it's not my fault. Deadlines slipping like intern sanity. Boss calls me in again. Looks like he hasn't slept in a week. Rubs temples like he's trying to erase me from existence. Says we've lost 2 clients already. I sip latte loudly. Reply, short-term losses are worth long-term enlightenment. You don't understand systemic change. Developers whisper about quitting. Overhear them in hallway. A smugly write, resistant to change on clipboard. Pat self on back. Sales lead slams fist in meeting. Safe doesn't pay bills. Office goes dead quiet. I glare at him. Accuse him of toxic communication. Write him up mid-meeting. Inner monologue. I'm dismantling capitalist toxicity. Boss sighs so hard it echoes. Says we can't keep bleeding clients. I smile. Reply, this is cultural transformation. Engineers look at each other like they're trapped in purgatory. One mutters, I just want to write code. I snap. Toxic masculinity detected. Write him up. Inner monologue. I'm shaping the future of work. A cafeteria emptier than my empathy. Coffee machine unused. Silence everywhere. Boss rubs temples again. Says, "Are you sure these rules help us?" I reply, "They help society. Isn't that more important?" He stares at me like I just confessed to murder. Sales lead mutters, "We're losing money." I smugly say, "Money is temporary, equity is forever." Inner monologue, "I'm untouchable." Developers whisper louder now. "We should quit." Over here again. Markdown resistant to change for the fifth time. A sip latte, feel powerful. Boss looks like he aged 10 years in a month. Sighs every time he sees me. I interpret it as respect. Reality, he's exhausted. They fear me because I'm powerful. Evil laugh. Think, perfect time for deeper transformation. A third client cancels contract. Boss looks like he aged 20 years. Ahimen. Developers whisper louder about quitting. Over here again. Smugly mark, resistant to change for the sixth time. Pat self on back. Think short term losses are worth long term enlightenment. Hold another confession circle. A force interns to admit microaggressions. One intern breaks down crying. Sobbing says, "I don't know what I did wrong." I smile, write down progress. Inner monologue, tears are proof of growth. Boss walks by, sees intern crying, mutters, "This is insane." I reply, "Insanity is refusing equity." He rubs temples, walks away, smug. EXC, next morning. Email arrives, emergency meeting with CEO at 9 a.m. A sip latte, feel untouchable. Inner monologue, finally recognition of my brilliance, strut into boardroom. Oversized tote bag swinging like wrecking ball. CEO already red-faced. A folder on desk, veins popping. Slams it open. "Your policies are killing us." Room dead silent. Engineers stare at floor. Sales lead glaring at me. Boss looks like he wants to evaporate. I smile, reply, "But inclusivity." CEO cuts me off. "We've lost half our clients." Developers are threatening to quit. Sales is collapsing. And you're writing people up for jokes. I sip latte, but quietly this time. Think he doesn't understand systemic change. Say, "This is cultural transformation. Short term losses are expected." The CEO slams fist, I flinch. "We don't have short term left." The silence so thick you could choke on it. Intern staring at table, pale. One mutters, "Please fire her." I glare. "Write him up for hostile communication." The CEO snatches clipboard out of my hands, throws it on desk. "You're fired." Heart sinks. Try to argue. "But equity." The CEO waves me out. "Security will escort you." Think he's intimidated by my authority. Reality, everyone's relieved. Security shows up. Walk me through office. Employees avoid eye contact. No one says goodbye. Cafeteria empty, coffee machine silent. Feel humiliated. Inner monologue, "They'll regret this when culture collapses." Think they will beg for me to come back. Escorted out front door. Oversized tote bag heavier than my dignity. Sit on curb with watered down latte. Stare at building. See boss through window. Laughing with sales lead. Engineers smiling for first time in months. Interns eating lunch together. Realize they're happier without me. Go back to tiny studio apartment. Few months pass. Appealing paint, futon bed. A scroll LinkedIn. No one want to hire. See something familiar. See company posting record sales. Headline, company rebounds after restructuring. Realize restructuring equals firing me. Feel embarrassed. Think about my 90K salary gone. Whisper to myself, maybe they didn't need saving. Stare at ceiling. Realize maybe it was my fault. Inner monologue, where did it all go wrong? Sip water cause I can't afford coffee. A taste like defeat. I was wrong. But it's too late.